Hello everybody out there in the bookverse, it is Stephanie back with another monthly TBR video. I just ran downstairs to get a couple of the books that were on my TBR from the month of January that I forgot, and now I'm out of breath and cannot breathe, so that's great. Shows how good of shape I am in. But anyways, we are back with my February TBR. I am really looking forward to this because January was super nice to me. I felt like it went very well. And so I am hoping to kind of roll over that energy into February. I'm hoping that February will be the last month that I will be wanting a nice TBR. And after that, I'm hoping I'll be in a place where I can maybe, I don't know, be more open to a mean TBR. But knowing the game, it'll be like, oh, you want it nice this month and mean next month? Let's flop that. So we'll see how it goes. But let's chat about how I did with the books that were on my TBR for January. So I had 5 books on my TBR for the month of January. One of them I did not own, and that was Glint, which was a wormhole pick, which I did read. We have The Fine Print, which was a spinner wheel free pick, I believe, which I did read. Powerless, which was for a hardcover, which I read. Vampires of El Norte, which was for a book with an animal on the cover, also read that one. And Crescent City, House of Earth and Blood, which was an author with 3 names, Sarah J. Maas, which I am about halfway through at this point of filming, which means that I won my TBR for the month of January. And those of you who have seen the TBR Mini Star Hop know exactly how I managed that. So that means we get to remove one of the black holes from the board, which is great because I did not have another black hole to put on if we had to. So this is good for me because I hate cutting those things out. It's actually not very easy to do. Whew. Very happy about this. So let's jump in. We'll see what the first roll gives us, but first we are going to be taking that black hole off the board. Okay, it feels so good to be able to remove a black hole. And of course I'm going to pick this one because this is the farthest that I would have to go back if I hit it. So we are removing this black hole from the board. Whew, it's a good way to start. Good vibes, I feel like. Okay, first roll, be nice to us. We get a 6. I think that's okay. Perfectly acceptable. Moon prompt, and we get a retelling. I think that should be doable. Okay, first prompt was a moon, and the prompt was retelling. And honestly, I don't really have that many retellings that I had been wanting to fit onto my TBR. So I Googled books that are retellings, and I found One for My Enemy by Olivia Blake. This, according to, I believe it was on the Barnes & Noble website, is a Romeo and Juliet retelling. If I'm wrong on that, too bad. It's already on my TBR, and I have been loving Olivia Blake lately, so really looking forward to reading this one. I believe this is rival families in some sort of magical competition, which I absolutely love magical competitions and the rivals that go back generations. So definitely looking forward to this. And her writing style just always is a hit for me so far in every book I have read by this author. So I'm excited to be able to put this one on here, even though it wasn't one that was necessarily on my radar for this month. It's one that I'm really looking forward to. Next roll. A 9. I really hope that's good. Ooh, see, that was what I was afraid of, but we passed it, we're good, and our prompt is an audiobook. Easily done. I do so many audiobooks. Okay, next we got a star, close one, and the prompt is audiobook, which, if y'all know me, that's a pretty easy one for me to do. And I'm actually going to be putting on the 3rd book in the Crescent City series. This is the first one, so I'm just kind of holding it up to have something to hold up, but I can put the 3rd one up here over it. And that one, I actually, Wind and Truth, maybe? Should have the names of the houses in here. They're named after the houses, so Flame and Shadow, maybe, actually. I'm guessing it's going to be Flame and Shadow, House of Flame and Shadow. I could be totally wrong on this, though, but it'll be up here, so you'll see it. I am planning on finishing the first and second books in the series in the month of January, and then reading the third book in the beginning of the month of February. I'm going to a release party for that one. So really looking forward to this series. This is my final Sarah J. Maas series that I need to catch up on. And people have said that there's going to be a lot of connections in the third book in this series between her different worlds, which I'm really looking forward to. So yeah, excited about this and excited to kind of like be on the hype train with it as these books are coming out. I'm not a huge Sarah J. Maas fan. I do enjoy her books mostly, but like I'm not as huge of a fan as I know a lot of people are. So many people absolutely love her as an author, but I am really looking forward to this series, and I think it'll be fun to be reading it as it comes out and just enjoying that excitement with everyone else. Come on, be nice. Just not a black hole. 9. I think that's good. I think that's good. Another moon, okay, and our prompt is a white cover. I don't know about that. The next prompt I had was a moon, and that was a white cover. And I feel like once I pulled this off my shelf, I noticed it wasn't quite as white as I thought it was, but I'm still going with it. And that is Red Sister by Mark Lawrence. If you look, like, the spine is quite white, and then the back is really white, and so that's kind of what I was looking at. And then the cover has a little bit less white to it, but we're still gonna go with it because once I had picked it, like, it was in my head and I had to pick it. So this is the first book in his Book of the Ancestors series, and it follows a woman who becomes like an assassin nun. She goes to this training school for these assassin nuns, and I've heard people really, really love particularly this first book. I haven't heard too many people talk about the series as a whole, but the first book in the series seems to be really beloved and people seem to really enjoy it. So I'm excited to try it out, and also to try out Mark Lawrence as an author because he has a couple series out, and so if I really like this one, then I can maybe start looking into some of his other series as well. Okay, pressure's on. Be nice, be nice. A 2. I mean, not big, but we're not going backwards. 2, and it's a star at least. Sci-fi, ooh, I don't actually want that, but I will accept it. Okay, next was a star prompt, and it was a sci-fi, which I feel like when I made this game and made the prompts, I was a lot more into sci-fi, and since I've kind of pulled away from that quite a bit, and I am more into like fantasy than sci-fi. But there is a series that I started and didn't quite finish, so I'm going to be putting the second book on. I don't own a physical copy of the second book, but here's the first one, The Blood Trials by Annie Davenport. So this is a like sci-fantasy, but it does have a lot of sci-fi elements to it, so I am going to be including this one on here. I liked the first one okay. I had some critiques of it. I think I talked about it in one of my videos, but I started the second one and I just was not invested, and so I stopped reading it. But I do feel like I kind of want to finish out the series just for completion's sake. It's only a duology, and I was about halfway through the second book, so I think I just want to finish it. I think the pacing on this was a little off. I do feel like this series almost felt like it should have been a trilogy and it was smushed into 2 books instead, which I don't know if that was intentional or if this was something that happened because of publishers or what, but that's kind of how I felt about it. And so I wasn't super invested in it, but I am going to put on the second book in the series just because this is kind of the only sci-fi series that I'm in right now that I might want to finish. So yeah, this is going on as my book for a sci-fi pick. It's actually the second book, but you know. Okay. We don't want a 2 or a 9. No 2s, no 9s. I mean, hopefully we won't get 2 2s in a row. Ooh, be nice. A 10! No way! Ooh, the board was so nice this time. I'm so happy. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't know why, for some reason, I was just all of a sudden unreasonably nervous that I counted wrong and the black hole was going to be 10. But it's not. We are at the end and we can now move on to the spinner wheel. Ooh, I'm so happy. I cannot believe that we got a 10. I was a little bit nervous. I think I said it when we were counting, but I, for some reason in my head, all of a sudden was so convinced that I had counted wrong and we were going to land on that black hole. We didn't. But yeah, whew, that went very, very well. I'm very happy about that. Okay, so now we're onto the spinner wheel. For those of you who don't know, I will spin a wheel of prompts and then I will have 10 seconds to find a book that fits that prompt, or I have to spin again. I also will have to spin again if I get the same prompt as I got last month, and I believe that was free pick. Is this turned on? It is turned on. Ah, you're okay. Whew, okay. I'm excited about this. I don't actually have as many options over there as I usually would have, so I'm hoping it'll pick one that's not like too difficult, but we'll see. Okay. Yes, okay. Adult fantasy, that is very doable. Got it. That was just an easy pick. So I picked up Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldree. This is a kind of companion novel to Legends and Lattes by the same author. It's set in the same world, but follows different characters. I don't know if it comes before or after Legends and Lattes, but I'm really excited for this one. This was a gift from my friend Abby from the channel Abby Salter. I absolutely love her. So very excited to get to that. Like I've said in a few of my videos, I'm trying to prioritize reading gifts a little bit more this year. And so definitely looking forward to reading this one. Plus, this is my Patreon buddy read for the month of February. So I'm going to be reading it with my patrons and I just honestly can't wait. I loved Legends and Lattes. It was such a nice, cozy fantasy. And I love reading cozy fantasies in the colder months, like whether it's fall or winter. I think it just feels like a cozy fantasy time. It also feels like a very dark fantasy time as well. So I don't know. Like, both vibes work for the winter time, but this one, ooh, got a lot of reflection going on that cover. But this one I'm really looking forward to. I think this one is kind of along the same lines of Legends Lattes, where you have this more historically violent person who decides to open a bakery coffee shop. And in this one, I think it's opening a bookstore, which I love. I love books about books, love books about bookstores. So this is perfect to go on the list. Plus, it's not really that long. I think it'll be an easy, fun read to get through. Okay, look at my very reasonable stack for the month of February. I actually cannot believe that the game was this nice to me 2 months in a row. Like, it's actually kind of surprising to me. But we have Red Sister for a book with a white cover, Bookshops and Bone Dust for a Spinner Wheel adult fantasy pick. One for My Enemy for a retelling. It's not The Blood Trials. The Blood Gift, I think, might be the name of that second book, but that's for a sci-fi. And then the third Crescent City book, which is for an audiobook. So I think that this is a very manageable stack. I think I am very likely to be able to get through all of these books. I am not planning on doing a 48-hour readathon in this month though, so that tends to be a time when I get through a ton of the books in my TBR, so I'm gonna have to kind of be focused and getting these done without that readathon. I am looking forward to these books. I think this is a very reasonable stack. I think this book kind of doesn't do justice to how long the third book's going to be, so I'm going to have a little bit of a thicker book down here. But overall, I think this is extremely manageable, and I think I'm going to win for another month in a row. We'll see. Maybe I just jinxed myself, but I think it's very likely that this is going to be a success for me. So that is my TBR for the month of February. Oh, I do also want to mention, I will also be reading part of The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. I am doing a Stormlight read-along where I am rereading the Stormlight archive and going to be chatting with people over on Discord, doing live shows. And so we're going to be through, I think, about this much of the book by the end of February, but I won't be finishing it by that time. It'll be finished in March, so I didn't want to put it on my TBR for this month. But this one is also on the list, and this one's chunky, but it's kind of broken up, so a lot more manageable. But yes, this one is also on the list as well. If you're joining in for the Stormlight read-along, yay, very excited about that, but oh, I'm loving jumping back into this world. So that finishes out my TBR for the month of February. Let me know down in the comments what books you're planning to read. If you are reading any of the same books as me this month, let me know as well, because I kind of like hearing other people's thoughts on the books I'm reading as well. And as always, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see how I end up doing with this TBR, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so you'll be notified when I post new content. And I'll see you all in my next video. Bye.